Bum Phillips, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Looking forward to the Super Bowl?
Look forward to every Super Bowl. Yeah.
Do you get to go to them or just stay at home and watch?
I'm stay at home and watch. I don't have to park my car or in line for the traffic to get out again.
You don't miss all that.
And I can see, and I see the same game that the people that are at the game see.
You get to see. Do you think you get a better view of the game watching it on television than you do at the stadium itself?
Sure, I can run my television back and see the play over again many times I want to, and they can't.
Do you watch the game differently? Do you watch the game differently now as a fan as when you were coaching?
I'm sorry, I had a little trouble understanding you.
No problem. Do you watch the game differently now than when you coached?
Not a whole lot. I don't have any comments. I can watch it and enjoy it. If I get beat on the team I'm pulling for, it don't hurt me. They're as bad as it did when I was coaching it.
Now, you started off coaching in high schools in Texas, so you know all about Friday Night Lights.
Oh, yeah. 13 years in high school and 6 in college and 18 in pro ball.
So was the adjustment from Texas high school football to college and the pros all that much different?
Not a whole lot. It's still fundamentals and teaching kids how to do something and selling them on what you're teaching them to do. You know, it's salesmanship all the way through.
What was it like coaching under Bear Bryant?
That was probably the best year I've ever had in my coaching experience because he was such a teacher and a great leader. You know, he wasn't an X's and old man. He was a people guy. And I really learned that's where I learned how to coach, because not how much you know, it's how much you can get done, how much you can teach, which kids can absorb.
Now, is it better to be like that, or is it better to be the guy who can draw up the plays, do you think?
Hey, you can draw up a really good play, but if those kids can't execute it, don't have the ability to execute it, that play is not worth a darn. Plays don't win games, players do.
When you coached under Sid Gillman, I mean, Sid Gillman basically revolutionized the NFL offenses. Until this day, his basically proteges that keep following that same system. Why was he such a great offensive mind?
Sid was absolutely the best offensive coach I've ever been around in my life. He had so much offense in his head, though, that he put it all in for every game. You know, he could think of something in the middle of the game that he wanted to change, and whether we'd worked on it or not, he'd go ahead and change it during the game. And he's a great, great football coach. He's just better coach than most of the players were.
Well, that's the problem. A good coach has to know what his players are capable of absorbing, I'll assume.
You better believe it. That's the most important thing. It's not what you know, it's what you can get them to know.
So do you think you were fairly successful in that regard during your days as coaching?
I would say that's probably the thing that I learned from Bryant that I never did give up on. Not what you can tell a guy to do, it's what you can get him to do.
How did you start wearing the famous hat on the sideline?
I'm sorry?
How did you start wearing that famous hat on the sideline?
I wore a hat all my life. You know, I didn't just wear it on the line. I wore it all the time, except when I was indoors. I was with a hat on.
Well, Tom Landry had a hat too, but you guys had a little bit different style of headgear, didn't you?
Yeah, Tom wore it for the same reason I did, keep the sun out of his eyes and rain off his head.
I was going to say, I thought Tom wore it because he had the bald head. He
was a great man, a great coach.
Who was the
coach? when you were coaching the Oilers and you had Earl Campbell, did you ever think
drafted Earl?
You drafted Earl. What made Earl such a special player? What made him such a special player?
He's nice by himself. And it don't take long to call the roll of the classes he's in.
Was there ever, in your experience, a runner as powerful as Earl Campbell?
Oh, yeah, that had strength, but Earl had strength and speed and ability to maneuver. And he was a heck of a competitor. He won ever down. And that's probably what set him apart. There's probably good athletes, and maybe as good athlete as he was, but there wasn't very many that had the determination that Earl Campbell had.
When you handed the ball to Earl, did you kind of think to yourself sometimes, you know what, maybe I'm making this guy do too much. I should use my other players more?
I just didn't understand it.
Do you think you'd rely too heavily on Earl Campbell?
You might try talking a little slower. I listen slow and I talk slow.
No problem. Do you ever think that you used Earl too much?
I still couldn't understand it.
With Earl Campbell, did you ever think you used him too much?
Did I ever think that I ran him too much?
Right.
Yes.
No, Earl wanted with it more than I let him run with it. He wanted to carry the ball every time. He didn't want to mess around with it. He was a believer in running and was great at it.
What do you think of? What do you think of the offensive nowadays that are more wide open and less dependent on running and more pass happy?
Well, it's something that the people want to see. Everybody can understand throwing the football to a guy that's open and him catching it and dodging some people, but not most people don't understand what it takes to have a good running back. It takes a great line with that and using your practice time to give them the right instruction how to do it. You have to know a little bit more about football than most people do to appreciate a running game.
When you were the general manager, what did you look for in players when you drafted them?
Number one was character. I wanted a guy that would do it the same time, same way every down, whether you're ahead or behind, or whether you're hurting or you're not hurting. If you're hurting bad, come off the field.
Now, in addition to being a coach, you're also a book author of Bum Phillips, Coach, Cowboy, Christian. How did that project come about?
Well, really and truly, I never did think about writing a book. I just thought I wanted to write some things for my children because when I had children and I was coaching, I was gone, I'd say 19 of the 24 hours every day. And I wanted to write some things and tell them about my life, a part of my life, and I decided to write them a note and leave it. And my wife talked me into writing a book. And of course, I'm glad I did because it turned out to say it worked both ways. It helped children and helped me too.
And you have a website where you could get the book, bumphillipsbook.com. Is that right?
Yeah. I think we may have some audio difficulties, but you can get the book at www.bumphillipsbook.com for those who are interested out there. Now, you talk of family. You have a son, Wade, who's in the coaching profession. Did you ever try to tell him not to get into it?
Of course not. I didn't tell him to get in it either. Football is something that if you want to do it, once you learn how to get into coaching, if you enjoy it like I enjoyed it, you don't ever get out of it. There's not really any doubt about the fact that you chose the right profession.
Is it more difficult to have people criticize you as a coach or to have them criticize your son as a coach?
I never paid attention to what they said.
People
that criticize you don't know the situation. I don't know. It just never did bother me one way or the other.
Okay.
People can think the way they want to think.
What was your favorite moment in coaching?
My favorite what?
Moment in coaching.
My favorite
moment in coaching as a coach.
Oh, my favorite moment?
Yes, sir.
The day we beat San Diego out in San Diego in the playoff, and we didn't have Earl, we didn't have Dan Passing, we didn't have Kenny Burrow. Our three biggest threats offensively we didn't have. And we went out there and beat them, and they were a great football team. But we had our defense. We intercepted 5 passes during the day, and that turned the ball game around.
Who was your favorite player to coach? Did you have one?
I had a bunch of them. It'd be hard for me to say just one guy was my favorite.
Okay, did you have a favorite team? A favorite season?
Yeah, the Oilers.
Do you miss
I like
Houston not
Cowboys too. I
you
like
miss
Tom
Houston?
Landry and appreciated him and the Dallas Cowboys too.
Do you think Houston made a mistake naming the team the Texans and not the Oilers?
Well, I thought they did, but they couldn't name them the Oilers because Bud Adams owned him, and he wouldn't allow it to be used again. So they had no choice. Had to name something besides Oilers. I wish they'd left them all.
So are you a Houston Texans or a Tennessee Titans fan?
Texans, hey, if they're not in Texas anymore, I ain't for them.
Very good. Bum Phillips, thanks you for spending some time with us. Good luck with your book.
Oh, thank y'all.